A very good morning. Welcome back. You're watching Morning Live, and welcome to London, where we're bringing you our Rugby World Cup update as we do every single day at this time. It's coming to you live today from the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Stadium. This is a place that's already hosted 4 Rugby World Cup matches, and they've only got one more Rugby World Cup match to host, and that is the bronze medal match in about 2 weeks' time. It's good to be in your company for South Africa. It's a big day as the team sit perhaps on tenterhooks, as coach Hanneke Meyer will later on today announce his team to face New Zealand for the all-important semi-final. As we look ahead to the semi-finals, I thought I'd tell you about this wonderful story that happened. It actually happened 3 weeks ago in Manchester, where a New Zealander, realizing that we were from South Africa, said that he wanted to give me something to symbolize what rugby means, and that is that we can be great rivals on the field, but off it we can use the sport as a tool for hope. And he gave me this rainbow elephant for our Rainbow Nation. And why this is so special is because you'll see this little tag here. It's got the name Renuka on. Now, Renuka is the name of the lady in Nepal who crocheted this. They've got an empowerment program for those that were affected by the devastating earthquakes earlier this year. So for the people in Nepal, this rainbow elephant is a symbol of hope, and also it's a symbol of what sport can do in bringing people from different nations together. So although we may be rivals on the field, we are friends off of it. So this was a New Zealander giving a South African and the South African crew this wonderful rainbow elephant for our Rainbow Nation. What a lovely message for this morning. I do hope that you and I are going to have a great show. I know that we've got loads lined up for you. So let's get into it by checking in with our Springbok team correspondent, Simon Burke.
The main talking point in this week of the semi-finals continues to be that of Craig Joubert and his handling of the Australia-Scotland match. The Springboks have offered their sympathies. Brian Habana says he can relate, but then again he can also relate to the Scots.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. Craig, has helped us quite a bit over the last 4 years, and again, the circumstances on Saturday, we have no control over. Unfortunately, decisions that he made, have been brought under the microscope. But for me personally, I think the standard of refereeing, over the whole tournament has generally been of a great standard. So again, we feel for Craig in a way, but that's something we can't really comment on. It's a decision we didn't make. It's a decision we weren't a part of. We were there in 2011, so we know exactly how Scotland feel. But as a team, we can only focus on what goes on in our camp, and there might be 1 or 2 messages sent to Craig, but for us, all that's important is this coming Saturday against All Blacks.
Later today is the team announcement, and everyone's keeping a close eye on whether Lut Diaga and the tendon in his foot will be ready for Saturday. If not, there's the question of whether Victor Matfield has rehabbed enough on his hamstring. There's also the case of Bismarck du Plessis, although he just has a cut on his hand, and his brother Yanni says he'll be just fine. I'm Simon Burke, bringing you the latest from the Springbok camp.
And you'll be able to keep up to speed even at the office by just logging on to the SABC Sport or website for more from the Rugby World Cup when it comes to the news. Well, this morning I'm actually going to stay inside of the ABSA Red Bus, ABSA, a member of Barclays, because it's raining outside. It looks as if the rain is going to set in for the next day and a bit. But this is where we are. We're at the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park. The lights are still on and it looks absolutely magnificent. We'll have more for you from the Rugby World Cup update after this.
Good. Boy. Sit.
Get behind Rugby World Cup 2015 on SABC.
Rugby World Cup update brought to you aboard the ABSA Red Bus. ABSA, a member of Barclays. We're parked outside of the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Stadium, and on that note, let's get you up to speed with some of the news from the Rugby World Cup. All Black centre Conrad Smith believes the Springboks will be the ultimate test for his team, saying there's something special about playing them, and playing them in a semi-final will be extra special. Smith is anticipating a close physical battle with Hanneke Meyer's men and admits it will be difficult for the All Blacks to replicate the intense rugby that they displayed in the 60-13 quarter-final hammering of France. Apart from a 27-25 win at Ellis Park in October 2014, the All Blacks have held the upper hand in recent meetings against the Springboks, last beating them 27-20 in July. Boxer Yanni du Plessis has said the team has been advised to this week try and see what they want to end up doing and do the things that will get them there. And then the fallout from England failing to reach the knockout phases of the Rugby World Cup continues. Chris Robshaw should remain as England's open side flanker for next year's Six Nations, but only because there's no other options. That's according to World Cup winner Neil Back. So this was happening at the Rugby World Cup. In other sports news emanating from London, Arsenal beat Bayern Munich 2-0 last night in a group stages match in the UEFA Champions League. Now, we were at the Arsenal football ground, that's the Emirates, a little bit earlier on this week. We took a look at the pitch, which really is the holy grail at the stadium.
It's all about protecting the team performance. Yes, we're a big event venue and we invite people in to see it, but that's the player's office, that pitch, and it's an incredibly well manicured pitch. It has a special technology in it, so all of your viewers at home will never see the pitch divoting, you'll never see the goal mouths wearing out. It's an incredibly advanced pitch with underfloor heating, with vacuum and suction to take the water away. So again, when your viewers are wondering why even on a rainy London day we water the pitch, it's because it drains so quickly, and we have to keep the pitch surface greasy and wet because that's what professional players request. They want the ball to zip over that grass, and it suits the Arsenal style of play because we pass the ball a lot.
Alright, so this is where we're sitting on. We're sitting on the ABSA Red Bus, bringing this Rugby World Cup update to you live. When speaking about Arsenal and going to the stadium, what you really get to appreciate when you're there on the stadium tour is just how much emphasis is placed on performance and what happens on the actual pitch. If you saw one of those photos, you actually got to notice how the stands, they kind of dip like this. They dip in the corners, and that is because it needs to let in natural light so that that pitch is able to grow. Everything about Arsenal and the Arsenal Football Club is about performance, even the way that the dressing room is laid out.
When we moved to Emirates Stadium in 2006, the whole playing side had the opportunity to design a changing room which was absolutely fit for purpose. And Wenger was really keen on the whole feng shui thing going on at the time. And if you notice in this room, all of the benches are a certain height. We have these cushions on the benches which actually aid the circulation of the players' blood as they sit on them. The floor is special non-slip floor. As you can imagine, when people are walking around with football boots on with studs, there's a high risk of slipping. You wouldn't want to be injured before you go out to play a match. That would be a tragic irony. The walls are curved so that no player feels he's sitting in the corner. They can all see each other, they can all look at each other across the room, because again, the island that we have in the room is at the exact height so that people can actually look at each other across that island and still communicate and feel part of the team. It always starts with the goalkeeper being closest to the door. The shirts are then lined up by playing position, because again, we want those players to communicate very strongly off the pitch as well as on the pitch. So it goes goalkeeper, defence, midfielders, and then attack. But again, there's one more Arsenal tradition in that the captain's shirt is always in the middle of the whole team. So again, the captain can communicate to all of the team irrespective of his natural playing position.
So Certainly a great thing to do once you visit London is go on an Arsenal football tour. Even if you're not a fan of the club, it's a really great insight into how those in top flight football, how those mega pros actually experience football and what life is like actually being a professional footballer, and some of the things that they go through, those pre-match traditions and what actually happens at the stadium. So it was very, very interesting. So we're at the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Stadium, and what you'll notice on this site is something that rises over 100 meters from the ground, and that is the Anish Kapoor sculpture. It's called the Orbit, and really it became a symbol of the Olympic and Paralympic Games. They've done a lot of work to try and make it a tourist attraction, to keep on drawing people to this part of London, because part of the value of the Olympic and the Paralympic Games was regeneration into this part of the city. And they've got some other plans in place to ensure that the visitors just keep on coming to the Orbit. Yesterday we were on the ground, today we go 80 meters up, and here what some of those plans are.
Next year, very exciting plans to build a slide. So from this height, you'll be able to slide down, and it'll take about 45 seconds. It'll be the longest, the tallest and the fastest dry slide in the world. As we get a bit beyond the Olympic and Paralympic Games now, it's really important to keep inventing and reinventing what we do here. Now, the ArcelorMittal Orbit really is central to that on the park. The Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park has a lot going on now. Right throughout the summer, we had a beach here which attracted over 450,000 visitors. Most weekends there's something going on in the park to attract visitors here. The landscaping is incredible and keeps on developing, and right at the heart of it is the ArcelorMittal Orbit. So next year, yes, you will be able to slide down it.
And there you get to see it on the right hand side. The Orbit is absolutely magnificent and quite a different experience. So it's a piece of artwork that you actually get to experience. Now, as much as the players have got a full week to prepare for the semi-final, that doesn't mean that they're just focusing on rugby. They also got a little bit of time to take their mind off of the rugby. So we've seen some players get onto social media, and one of the players that is quite active on social media is South Africa's very own record-breaking Brian Abana.
If I had to take a selfie with anyone I haven't met yet, I've been pretty fortunate that I've got to meet the late great Nelson Mandela on a couple of occasions. I had the privilege and honour of being in the presence of Her Majesty the Queen this past week, which was something I never thought I'd ever be able to do in my life. If I had to take a selfie with anyone in the world, I'd probably really want to take one with Barack Obama. I think just for the person he's become, the statesman he is, and he's a pretty iconic one. So there's hopefully quite a few that I still need to take a selfie with, but Barack's probably up there with number 1 or 2 in my choice list.
That's a good strangle tackle, but the ball's coming out. But Brian Abana's got it. The try's good. Abana has a hat-trick, and Abana is in the history books once again, level with Jonah Lomu. The try scored in World Cups. Look at the smile.
Oh wow, and come Saturday, Brian Habana will be going head-to-head with All Black superstar Julian Surveyor as both of them go for different try-scoring records here at the Rugby World Cup. Surveyor for the most amounts scored in a tournament and Habana for the all-time record. That's how we come to the end of this Rugby World Cup update. It's time to rejoin the crew back in the Johannesburg studios. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.
Thanks.